You're what's up, folks? What's popping? I'm looking at the the thing right here. Wait, pull this down. There we go. That's what I'm seeing in the comments. Joe bright as I don't know what. There you go. Ah, there we go. Look at this. This is a new thing now. I don't know, Jermaine. I'm just up here talking. I'm not here to talk shit. So, kind of like I did like a while back. Somebody need to connect their device though. Somebody here can't join because their device not connected. Who can't? Who not connected? Who is P? Oh, chasing the cloud. Oh yeah, with the Canon. Psych. No, I'm joking. I'm not switching to Canon. Although that 51.2, that Canon 51.2, I played with it the other day, like a few weeks ago. I think, yeah, like 2 weeks ago. We did a shoot, and man, that Canon ain't no joke, boy. Y'all hit the link in the comments so you can join the stream. Who's at Palladian? Oh, okay, all right. All I heard you say was 85 1.2. Hey, bro. That 51. I can't wait for Nikon to come up with a 51 too. What's up, Ernesto? What's up, Willie? I wanted to go live earlier, but like it just took me a long time to get it together. And then I almost didn't go live, David. I almost didn't go live, but I was like, you know what, let me just go today. And because tomorrow we got like shoots planned all weekend. So I was like, let me just go live so I can just sit up here and talk. DMAC, the topic is whatever. Just click the link. We just talking mess like I did before. So you can join. Clickbait for yeah, right. Y'all know I'm the clickbait king. That ain't nothing new. For real. P is me. I just bored Titan. Oh, bro. Paladin. Paladin. I guess Paladin is your name. How do you get your stuff? I guess do you have like a mic? Is your stuff not fixed? Is there any reason why you can't join the stream? That 2020 Ike for the can. Yo, so I just saw a report. This I guess they are gonna announce the 70-200 at CES. Nikon is, and the new D780 is going to be announced at CES. Let me see here. Close that out. Yeah, the Nikon to unveil the D780. What's these specs looking like? Yo, bro, remember I was telling you about the 8600? I actually ended up buying the 8600 Pro. I don't remember honestly, Paladin, but I mean, I don't doubt it. I get if this was on Instagram, I guess we talked about it. I don't remember talking about it. I should move this. I should move my computer over to the screen so I could like see, so I could like look like I'm looking this way. By the way, how's my audio? Is the audio good? What's up, Henry? Oh, sweet. Okay, the audio is good. Yeah, so the 780 or the 750 was a replacement. It's supposed to be same 24 mega. It's basically a Z6. Where's my Z6 at? It's basically like a Z6, like a D750 in the form of a D6. That's what I'm getting that the 780 is going to be, which isn't bad because it's going to have better focusing, better DSLR focusing, like the D750. You're supposed to get 4K, 1080p, 120. No built-in flash. That's kind of trash, but whatever. Dual card slots for everybody that wants dual cards. Improved frames per second. The better flat touchscreen on the back, just like the Z6. I guess the battery that can be charged in through the charger, through like the cord, the USB cord. So you can charge your battery through a USB cord in the camera. And then what else? Smaller, lighter, updated interface like the Z, between 51 and 153 focus points. Yeah. You know, the one thing I don't care for with this 750 is the focus points all kind of clump in the middle. So like, let's say if this is the screen and you're like taking a picture of somebody, and like normal cameras, with DSLRs, the focus points are like way out here. But with the 750, they're like kind of like right here. They kind of like pretty much here. So you have to like focus and recompose. There's no focus points out on the corners of the screen. So that would be nicer if the focus points were better, more spread out in the new 780. Small rig. What are you saying? Hey, what grip are you using in your Z6? Yeah, the small rig half cage. So the small rig serves two purposes. It's like it gives me like my pinky, so like I can rest my hand on it, so it feels better in my hands with the small rig. But then also, it's also like what do you call this? Forget what you call these. It's not the Manfrotto, but the other one. It's like the tripod thing. I forget what it's called. What's the cost in it? I think that thing. I think when I bought it was like $60. I got it early, so I bought it like when it first came out. So I think I got like an early supporter discount or whatever. So it was like $60 when I bought it, and I think I've had that thing on since I've had the damn near the camera. And so I've only took it off maybe like 2 or 3 times. Like I barely take that thing stays on my camera. Yeah, Arca Swiss. It's the Arca Swiss thing for tripod. So it like easily attaches. So for example, like my Joby Gorilla Pod that this thing is sitting on, it's a Joby Gorilla Pod, and the Joby little vlogging little Gorilla stick uses the Arca Swiss to clamp, and this is the same Arca Swiss. So it just like taps right in. So I don't have to like put a tripod grip or anything on the bottom. It just fits right on any kind of tripod that uses Arca Swiss. So it's that on this side and this side. It also has like a extra cold shoe mount. So when I'm using my like if I'm using like a mic or something, it can go on this side. So then my flash can go right here. There's a bunch of uses for this thing. If you ever see me when I use my Atomos Ninja, I always link it on this side and I hook it up to here and I have like my flash on. So it's like a whole thing that you can use. But I like this thing a lot. It's worth what I paid for it and more. So whatever the price they have for it is worth it. What else is going on? Anybody else joining? Anybody joining the stream? Yeah, Carl. You still shoot with the D800. Would you recommend today? Willie, I don't know if I would recommend a D800 today. Oh, snap. Okay, E-Dog is up here. What's up? I used to shoot the D800. Would you recommend today? Willie, I don't know if I would. But anyways, yeah. Well, I don't know if I would recommend a D800 today per se, because there's so much better. There's so many better cameras out that you could buy, like the D810, the D850. But I mean, I guess it depends on the price, and if you already have a bunch of Nikon lenses, it's worth it. Like if you already have a D800, then and it still works, use it, because I still use mine. But I wouldn't say go out and buy, one today. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. What's up, Ernesto?
What up, Ike?
What's going
My
on?
audio good? 'Cause I'm just talking through my computer right now.
Yeah, you actually you don't sound that bad. Ain't got the cam. Okay, Shannon got the cam
for the win.
You guys know that you can actually like stream from your phone on this thing. All you gotta do is like click the. Actually, you know what? Maybe not from the live stream. Maybe not from the live stream, because I know, like, I think I sent David, when David joined the chat. I sent him the link through Facebook, and then he just clicks it, and then you can just log on. That's how easy this program, because this is web based, so you don't have to have a program. It's like all web based, which is cool.
How much is this program, by the way?
So the beta is like free, but they have to they put that big ass duck logo across the joint. But I think like to get it like without the branding and stuff is like $25 or $20 a month or something like that. It's not cheap. It's fairly expensive. But I decided to pay for it because I wanted to be able to do stuff like this with other people. And there's no other programs where it's easy to talk to other people. Because I looked at other programs, there was like one other program, but it was like it was almost the same cost. And so I was like, well, I was doing that stream with Francisco, and I was like, I wanted to be able to talk with a Francisco, and I didn't want the branding on there. So I was like, I'll do them 1 month and just pay for it, and then like, cut it on and cut it off as I come and go. So
Oh, okay. So there's not a commitment, like a 1 year commitment. It's just month to month.
Yeah. I think you can pay for like a year in advance. I think it's like if you pay for a whole year, whatever, it's cheaper or whatever. But I'm like, nah, I'll do the month to month. Like I'll pay for it this month, and then like if I don't do any other big live streams, I'll just stop paying for it and then repay for it. Because like I said, the beta kind of gives you all of the same features, but the beta, like you can only do up to 6 people on the stream. It has a duck up here and it says StreamYard instead of like my little eye emoji logo. So the only thing I don't like about this program is it taps you out. It picks the there's not a whole lot of customization options to it. Like it's kind of like this is what it is. So for example, like I can't stream at 1080p. I can only do like 720, and this program kind of sets it. So I mean, it is very easy because it's just kind of like plug and play, but you don't get a whole lot of customization options. There are like a few branding options, like the little thing right here. I think I can go to like a banner and put like a ticker up there. So there's a few things that are like really cool, but for the most part, I mean, it's kind of like basic.
I like the ease of use of it, because when I was doing like that Monday critique and the doing business show, talking business show, that was a lot of work to maintain that live show. But I like the ease of use of this. But that $300 a year, that's a tough nut to crack every year.
Yeah, for real. Like, well, I'm like, well, eventually, the YouTube, when people donate, I was like, I can make it up. But I was like, let me go ahead and pay for it, because I'm like, I want to do the stream with Ernesto, and I not Ernesto, Francisco. I wanted it to look like legit and not be like bootleg. And then also, I plan on talking with a few other people. So like me and Irene Rudnick, I reached out to her for us to do it like a talk, and she was like, yeah, hit me up next week during the day. And she was like 2:00, and I'm like, yo, I don't get out of school till 1:30. I won't be home till 2:00. And so I never followed up with her. I was like, yo, can we reschedule? She's like, next week, let me know. I was like, all right. So I got to get back with her on that. And then me and Manny was supposed to do like a little chat like a while back too, because I wanted to get Manny's opinion on I think it was the A7R4, something, or A6400. It was something that had came out that like I was like, yo, Manny, this would be a good time for us to just talk, because I've been wanting to like get with him and just kind of go back and forth with him for the longest on live stream, but I just never got around to like committing to something. And then schedules, I know he's busy. And so then I meant to talk to him, and then like I ended up being on like Jason Vong and those guys live stream a while back. And so then that was kind of like I already kind of talked to that stuff to them. So I was like, well, that was that topic. So Keejan, what's up? Is Keejan up here? It's SoundCloud royalty free. I've been. You said what?
Said Keejan's been up to a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, he has. That boy all over the place. For real. His car.
I don't have that type of energy.
Did you see?
I can't keep up.
Bro, you see, I tried to troll him on with that car when I got out that black car.
Oh, that car. Whose car was that?
That's not mine. I have a Charger. It was a friend of mine. It was a friend of ours. We were doing the shoot for these shirts. The Taj for social media, and he had pulled up in his car, and I was like, "Yo, let me do something real quick," because I wanted to make fun of Keejan and kind of get at him and just troll him. So I just like cut that real quick on while we were out there, and I was like, "Yo, send this to me, just record it." And so, what's up, Mike?
What's happening?
Oh yeah, we got you. Yeah, you in here now. Yeah. Oh, let me get rid of this link. You quiet though. Your audio kind of low.
All right, hold on. Let me hit the little boosty. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
All right, cool.
Yeah, why your joint looking like you at 60 frames per second?
I don't know what I'm at.
Bro. Yeah, this guy's setup looked like he do an announcement for some kind of game.
Thank you very much. It's
yeah,
me right? Live and Mike
the,
Way. How you doing?
You got the boom and everything. Wait, what is everybody talking about? Yo, no, pause. I'm gonna ask Ernesto. So did you get the EOS R? Like you have the A7 III? Like I know you're a Canon guy. Like what's your status right now? Oh, Ernesto then froze. You there? Oh, he frozen. He done froze. Oh, he gone. He just dipped out. He probably gonna come back with it. Anyways, Mike, what's up? Oh, what you got there? Is that the EOS?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, a real EOS cancer. Man, tell us what's going on. How long have you had your EOS R?
Probably a month and a half.
Oh, so you a new booty. You ain't yeah.
I'm not an OG, nah.
You jumped on a train.
It's gonna sound real stupid and bougie, but like the only reason I bought this is because I had this Tamron 70 to 200 2.8. That's the only reason. Like I've got so I was gonna do a shoot and I wanted to use that lens and it doesn't work with my 5D. So
really? Like the old school? Like which one, Mark 4 or what?
Nah. 1.
Oh wait, which camera did you have before?
So the video I'm taking right now is the A7 III, and then
okay, so you're a Canon, you're a Sony shooter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So you basically switching back to the Canons, what you're saying? Like everybody's switching back.
No. I'm just I'm shooting everything. I just don't have a Nikon. I just don't have a Nikon.
You can't switch it back, all right?
Nah. No, so actually, my first camera was the Sony.
Oh, Sony what?
A6000.
Oh, so you haven't been shooting very long then?
No, not really.
Yeah, because the 6000s came out like around 2015, 2016?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so the 6000 series kind of new. Is E back? Ernesto can. You back?
Internet problems, my friend. I'm back though.
Oh, your face still frozen now, but it's okay as long as you can hear you. But no. Okay, so Mike, you have the EOS R. What do you think of it so far? You only got one lens.
No, I've got like 3 lenses, but it shoots slower than my A7 III, so I don't really like that.
Why is that?
it shoots slower. So I was out doing shooting a mountain bike event, and it's just it doesn't.
Okay, so
The
you're like a
autofocus isn't as good. It's just overall it's a slower camera.
you so you shoot like a lot of fast moving stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. I was gonna say like I the Z6, like, so I've shot with like cameras like a D4 and the D4S and stuff like that. So those, and even the A9, and those cameras are fast. Like when you talking about fast, the A9 is fast, but like the Z6 being slower, it hasn't like, it's fine, like it hasn't like really slowed me down as much, but it's not like I'm shooting people riding motorcycles across the screen either, or people running the football down the field. So I guess in a sense, like, no big deal. I don't know what the frames per second is on the
five frames, I believe.
But can do like 5.5 normal, but you can bump it up to like 11 if you like go into like plus mode or whatever like that. But the buffer like hits like pretty fast. But yeah, what's your status, Ernesto? Like, are you
So
what are you still on?
Well, I just picked up the Canon EOS R.
Oh, dang, I'm just surrounded by Canon
because well, your title of the video just so now I picked it up because my 5D Mark III camera stopped working properly, so I had to pick up a camera, and the EOS R is a camera that I didn't, but I'm actually extremely happy that I got it, because I have the Sony A7 III, and it's not as capable as the Sony A7 III in terms of focusing and stuff like that. But I must say it is extremely efficient for what I needed to do, right? Compared to my 5D Mark III that I had, I am extremely happy with how it focused. If you had to put like the Sony A7 III in terms of percentage, let's say Sony is 100% in terms of focusing, and then if you have to compare the Canon EOS R to that, I would say Canon, for me personally, is like a 90% compared to the Sony, right? It's not 100%, but it's like a 90% for me. And that's good enough for what I needed to do. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm
Same
happy
thing with my Nikon. Like the Nikon probably isn't like 100. It's for me, it's hard because like I had the D700 was probably the best camera I've ever owned, D700 wise. The D800 was a step up as far as megapixels, but as far as like features, it was kind of a step back because it had the D800 had better video, like it had all of that the cool, but it was a slower camera. Like the D800 was like 4.5 frames. It was like slow, 4.5 frames per second, I think, or 5. It didn't focus as good or as accurate as my D700, so it was a step back from my D700, but it was new at the time. And then we got the D750, and the D750 is a great cam, but the D750 is a prosumer body, and so when you get used to like the bigger, robust D800, D700 bodies, the D800, the D750 kind of feels like a step down. But as far as being a capable camera, it was a much more capable camera, and so I preferred to use the 750 over the 800 for the longest. Because it was just a much better camera capability wise, but feature wise, it wasn't necessarily better than my 800. And so then comes the Z6, and so the Z6 is kind of like my main squeeze now. But I can't say that like it's like more responsive than my D700 was. But would I go back to a D700 over my Z6? No, not the Z6 is like I'm good. And like you, E, like, it's not the fastest camera or the most efficient camera that I've ever used, but for what I do, it's just fine. Like it's perfect. Like, of course, I'd want a better autofocus update, but if Nikon never updated the autofocus again, I'd be okay. Like I'd survive, As long as they came out with other features, like, oh, the next camera has 4K 60 and dual card slots, but it's got the same autofocusing system. I'll make do.
So
But
yeah, I mean, so far I used this camera on a wedding. I did it on 2 photo shoots. I even did a photo shoot today with it, and with a manual focus camera, and actually, well, a manual focus lens. And I'm actually was really impressed in the fact that I could use a manual focus lens on the EOS R camera, because for me to do that on a 5D Mark III would have been, you know, all of my shots would probably been out of focus. But you know, able to do that with the EOS R now is like, because you could have you know, assistance. You know, you could have those red lines to tell you if you're out of focus or in focus or not.
Yeah.
So those little features definitely helps.
Yeah, focus speaking. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, I think Jared Poland did a video today talking about the Nikon, you know, system, and he was saying that he wouldn't recommend it to anybody starting out fresh, and I can agree with that. I could see not, because the system's still very new, it's not very mature. So as much as I would want to recommend people get like mirrorless, because you know that's kind of where we're heading towards, and the features and the advantages of mirrorless are going to be like much more better for us in the future. Today, as of today, December 26, 2019, I can't necessarily wholeheartedly recommend a Z6 over a D750 or anything like that, based on the drawbacks of the Z6 system, like the one card slot, the lack of lenses as far as native lenses are concerned, just things like that. So I only recommend it to people that are, if you already have a Nikon camera and it's a second body from you, then by all means go ahead and get it, because you already got something on the other side. But if it's the only camera you're gonna have, then I'm like, I don't know, because you know the option still ain't ready yet. But I have no regrets. Like I've been using my camera for a year.
Yeah, that was one of my primary concerns, the one card slot. But so far I haven't had any issues with it, so I'm crossing my fingers.
Well, I could see being more nervous because you guys have the one card, but it's an SD card. Like at least, even though it's one card, it's an XQD, and so I feel way more. What's the word? I feel way more secure, because this is damn near a solid state drive, basically. Like the cost of this thing, it's basically I'm using a solid state drive inside my camera. So I mean,
yeah, I agree with that. I hate those little cards, man, because you can mess up those pins so easily.
Yeah, like
I hate those cards.
Have you guys gotten any of those tough cards?
Yeah.
I got a tough card from Jared Poland in Vegas. Actually, I met him a couple weeks back.
I think Sony's giving out more tough cards than people have actually brought. You don't see too many people, but because that's the thing, like there's no competition for XQD. So like all you can buy is X. So, but like by default, I have this robust top of the line pro level card. But if I'm being real with y'all, if there was like a cheaper third party option, I'll probably have a few cheaper third party options that might put me at risk for card failure. But because I have to buy the official pro grade high-end card, like I just kind of have the best of the best by default. But with SD, it's like, yeah, there are better SD options out there, but people always end up with the cheap SanDisk versions for some reason, you know, because people say, oh, memory is getting cheaper, but it is, but these cameras are also taking up more space. So yeah, an 8 gigabyte card is way cheaper than it used to be, but 8 gigabytes ain't gonna get you nowhere. Like you need 256 gigabytes with these 60 megapixel cameras and 80 meg, like, you know, like the car, like space is being required more. So yeah, it's getting cheaper, but so are the pixels are getting bigger, you know. Especially now people are shooting video with 4K. It's like these cameras are shooting like high-end 6K. Somebody just did Panasonic shoots 6K video. Like, yo, you need all the space you can get. So yeah, it's getting cheaper, but not cheap enough, especially these XQD cards. Carl says, I keep buying that ProRes. Carl, I'm not a big video guy, so like I'm not, you know, I mean, the ProRes RAW upgrade is cool, but 10-bit N-Log is good enough for me for whatever I would do. So I'm gonna pass on that the RAW video. I don't even have the camera, the computer. This computer would break if I try to edit RAW video. So I'm not even gonna put my computer through that. Like this is I'm just getting by on 4K in Final Cut Pro on this camera.
It's time for that upgrade, man.
Well, yeah, look, so here's the deal, right? Oh, I didn't get to talk about what's going on. So let me let y'all in on, because we didn't talk about. So next January we'll be in imaging. So me and Tosh will be teaching at Imaging USA in January in Tennessee. And then in February we'll be at New York at B&H's Depth of Field. They're having like a conference called Depth of Field in New York and B&H. So we'll be there in February. I think it's like February 12th through the 14th or something like that. And then later on in February I'll be at WPPI in Vegas. And so I keep making jokes with Tosh. I'm like, yo, B&H is paying us a pretty penny. And so I'm like, yo, as soon as they pay us, I'm taking my half and I'm going to give me a new computer. I'm getting me the new 16-inch MacBook, and I'm throwing some stuff on there. That should give you an idea how much B&H is paying us. That just my half, I can go get a new MacBook, 16-inch. What upgrades? Anyways, yeah, so that's what I'm banking on next year, sometime around February, March. If you see an unboxing video with a new MacBook, just know I mean the check drop and I got permission. Gotta get over 2 months. Hey, can I get, you think I can get that some of that money that what money?
Most important part, the permission.
Exactly. Yeah, bro. Hey, did they ever send that money? What money? Oh, never mind. I'm gonna just go wait, just get some donations. Bro. Oh man. Oh yeah, Carl said he'll be at Imaging. That's what's up. Yeah. Bro, look here, Sean. I'm gonna talk to him, B&H, like, yo, B&H, y'all want to sponsor the channel? Because for real, we can do some things.
That's what you should hit them up with.
Cards. You said what? What'd you say? Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else. E. But yeah, anyways, what's everybody talking about back in the chat? Oh, Sean says, I've never heard anybody say anything about the Panasonic 6K capture. Is it any good for professional use? I don't have any experience with Panasonic's like high-end cameras like the SH1 or the SR and any of those cameras like that. But I feel like the 6K stuff, like people claim they want 6K and all that stuff, but like they want it in their camera, right? So, everybody wants 4K 60, but there's a bunch of cameras that already shoot 4K 60, but Sony hasn't put out a camera that shoots 4K 60 yet, so everybody's still crying for 4K 60. Nikon has not put out 4K 60, so I'm not going to get 4K 60 in a real camera until Nikon. My iPhone can shoot it, my DJI Osmo Pocket can shoot 4K 60, but that's just for B-roll, really. It's just for like, I'll just shoot 1080p 60 and upres in 4K. And
I'm curious. I can't see the person that raised the question. I can't see the comments because I closed that window. But that person is asking about the Panasonic. Do they actually shoot Panasonic?
I don't know. Sean, his name is Sean Adams. I don't know if he shoots Panasonic, but well, I'd imagine.
The reason I ask the question is because I find it interesting that when people switch from like, Canon to Sony, Sony to Panasonic, Panasonic to Nikon and all this, I'm just curious as to why people have this thought process of switching from systems to systems. So I'm just curious when he's saying, about Panasonic, I was wondering if you shoot Panasonic, or are you thinking about switching to Panasonic? So I'm just curious.
That's a good point that you made. I'm like, the 6K process pulls 18 megapixel from video, so suppose it gets 30 frames. Oh, I don't know. Maybe he's talking about like people shooting 6K video and then pulling frames for like stills and stuff like that. David says I'm switching to Kodak. That's funny. What do you want?
Switch to the Kodak. Kodak is right around the corner.
Oh Lord,
yeah. I don't know, man. So all of it really seems like, because I've got two systems, and it was really me shooting film that got me into the Canon system. But now it's like I already had the Sony system, so it didn't really matter. I was just trying to get some good glass so I could take some good pictures on my my film cameras, and just I bought the EOS R because I knew it was mirrorless and I knew it would work with this Tamron 2870 G2.
You know, I'm I guess stubborn in a way where I'm like, I have what I have and I'm gonna make this work. And so I have, like, unless there's a feature or something. Hold on, unless there's a feature or something that another camera manufacturer has that I need to do my job, or there's something that I'm using that's holding me back from completing my job, then I would see switching to another brand or another company or another manufacturer. But because there's nothing like when I, if, let's say the Z6 didn't exist and I was still shooting Nikon DSLR, the option would be like Sony with the, because of the autofocus and the EVF. And it's not that like I'm gonna need it to do my job. It's just like, oh, well, it'd be convenient to have and it'd be nice to have. But I wouldn't say that, oh, the DSLRs hold me back or anything like that, because that would just be basically me saying that everything I've done before this thing existed was not good enough and I couldn't do my job. Like I look at things that way in a sense of like, well, what happened last year or 2 years ago when this stuff wasn't even an option and you were doing this? You know how people say, oh, where were we before the internet happened? I don't even remember what life was like before text. Actually, I kind of do remember life like before text messages, and we did survive. But still, text messaging and cell phones are so convenient that that's something I don't want to go back to. But I forget the point I was making. But I still remember, like, DSLRs are still so much a part of everyday life that, like, it's hard for me to see, like, not having one, or like, oh, kicking it to the curve now and not using one just because something newer and better is out.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I wouldn't have get the Canon EOS R if my 5D Mark III didn't stop, working consistently. I had both the Sony A7 III and also my 5D Mark III, and I always picked up my 5D Mark III every time I went to go shoot.
Yeah. In the studio, like I'm actually, my next video that I'm planning on making is me talking about my D. It's gonna be one of those, is the D800 still worth it in 2020 or whatever? Did you see all these videos? Is this still worth it? Is it still worth it? Yeah, like that whole dumbass, like, oh, is it still worth it? And is so-and-so still worth it this year, 2 years later? And I'm just like, duh, it's the stupidest, but that's what people are doing. So I'm just gonna make fun of it and kind of troll it. But the fact is that I still use this camera in the studio. And like, I started using my Z6 more in the last couple shoots just because I wanted to be able to post stuff and tag Z6 in the comments and post stuff in Facebook, in the Z6 Facebook forum. And I'm like, damn it, I wish I could post more images, but I've been shooting my D800 so much that, like, I don't have anything that I can post in the Z6 group, or I can't tag Z6 and on Instagram and get play from it. D100 is always watched. So it's like, if I'm trying to play the content game, I have to be able to hashtag and tag stuff and use stuff in the title. And so, it's like, I kind of got to use it in order to take advantage of that. But outside of all the other stuff, like, this is doing me well. Like, you've seen the images. And so I'm going to talk about, like, how even still in 2020, the fact that I can pick up this camera, look through the viewfinder, move the focus point, hit the button, and the picture comes out in focus, and the quality is no better or no worse than it would be any other camera. I don't have any, like, I'm good.
I think mirrorless just makes everything much, much easier. I mean,
it does.
It's just like eye autofocus. You don't have to worry about it. I struggle when I pick up my 5D to like move the focus points, because I started out on Sony. It's just a little different. But I want to be able to pick up any camera and take a quality photo. So that's kind of why I touch every sort of system, even,
Well, see, your point is take a better quality photo. And so for me, this camera's like 8 years old now. You're not going to find much better image quality than this D800. Like, it's going to be hard to find, like, objectively, there's better megapixel 100 f2.8, 2/50th of a second or whatever. In even lighting, there's not going to be much that's going to be much better than this camera. They're going to be even, they're going to be just as good, but you're not going to find anything that is going to be much better. So with that being said, with that out of the way, it just comes down to whatever lenses that I have for this camera versus any other camera that I own. And like you said, convenience level. Mike just said that DSLRs are better cameras, but mirrorless is more convenient. It's kind of like if you guys are tech nerds or TV nerds, back in the day when LCD TVs were first starting to come out, and we still used the old big TVs. I remember the debate was like, LCDs are more convenient, they're better, like they're the future. But as far as image quality, in a sense, for image quality, cathode ray tubes, or CRT, like the big old school TVs, they still actually gave you a better picture quality than the LCDs did at the time. This is way back in the end, but technology got better. LCD TVs got better. Now you could barely, not a flat screen TV is like the normal. But I remember back when the flat screen was like, oh, you got a flat screen. Now that's like, okay. And but I remember I used to work at Circuit City, and LCDs were fresh. And that's kind of like how DSLRs and mirrorless are. Like mirrorless is still fresh. And so like all things being equal, DSLR is going to be just as good as the mirrorless, but like maybe in 10 years, it might be a different story.
Yeah, I can't recommend anyone to go buy a DSLR for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when I tell people, what is the word? I'm like, I gotta recommend Sony because as good as the Canon system is and as good as Nikon, I'm gonna push for native lenses. Like I don't see the reason to buy a DSLR and then go buy adapted lens. Buy a mirrorless just to go buy adapted lenses. I feel like if you're gonna buy mirrorless, if you're gonna start there, you should invest in mirrorless lenses and not go backwards as far as lenses. I just understand if you want to play around, have fun, and do stuff, cool. But like I'm gonna recommend newer stuff with better technology because I always would joke about people like, why buy this camera with these new features like silent shooting, image stabilization, autofocus, and then adapt the lens and you can't use none of those features that you bought the camera for. Like, oh, well, if I adapt the Canon 51.2, autofocus doesn't work that good. Well, you might as well be using the DSLR at that point. Like, it's not that much better, So I'm always going to say, get the better lenses to go with the better camera, and then once you establish, then you can play around and get old stuff.
I don't know, man. The RF lenses, you got to have real deep pockets. Like the 85
that's
one, what $3,000?
Well, that's the thing. That's why, like, I wouldn't recommend it, unless you got the money to buy the lenses too. Which is why I always fight for Nikon, because I'm like, yo, Canon put out the most expensive lenses that nobody really can afford, but the cameras are mad cheap. Whereas Nikon kind of is in the middle. These lenses aren't the most aspirational lenses, but they're within reach for most people.
But I mean, everybody seems to be 4 or 5 years late to the game. Sony's got more lenses for E-mount than everybody has for their new mounts. I mean, granted, because they're new, but it's just easier that way. And with Tamron coming through with, their good zooms and stuff, why would you?
Yeah,
I don't want to buy a G-Master.
Yeah. We'll see. And so like you already owned the lens. So it's like for people who already own legacy glass, it makes sense. But if you're like fresh, if you're starting fresh today, like still Sony is the way to go, like still to this day. And it won't change at least for like another year or two until Canon, comes out with more cheaper, and actually really it's third party that's going to lead the way. That's going to help it because
the cheaper lens is the EF. Go with the EF now.
Yeah, because I think somebody said something. I was like, yo, Sigma, when Sigma brought out all of their art lenses, that was just in 2018, I think. Like Sigma just now came out with their lenses for native for Sony, and then Tamron did the same thing. And then there was like, what's the other company? I forget the Rokinon or whatever, or Samyang. Like you have so many options for Sony outside of the native lenses. Everybody has like the Samyang 34 or the Sigma E-mount, or not very few people talk about native Sony lenses outside of the 85 G Master and the 24G. Most people are like the 50 Sigma or the cheap 1.8 or some off-brand lenses like that. That's just kind of how it is. If the song is whack, doesn't matter. Laserdisc was. What is Michael talking about? Betamax. See, Betamax is before my time. Betamax is better than VHS, but VHS was easy to put out. I think that was the same thing with a HD DVD versus Blu-ray. All of those things. Used lenses are the biggest reason to go Sony. There are a lot of lenses. Yeah, the lens is my what is the word? Philosophy of theory that lenses are always going to be the things that sell cameras, not the cameras themselves. It's going to be the lenses, the lens selection, and when lenses are available. Like people want Canon because of the lenses that are available for Canon, not necessarily the Canon bodies. They're like, oh, the 51.2, the 85 1.2. I'm telling you, when I play with that 51.2, I said, oh, no wonder everybody wants Canon. This is like how sharp it is, but you can still get that 1.2 depth of field is crazy.
Yeah, I used that lens back in February at WPPI. I rented it and I couldn't put that lens down. that was a pretty good lens.
I was like, yo, is this sharp?
But at the time I couldn't afford it, so I put it down.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the body's coming down in price, but the lenses ain't moved. The lenses have not moved an inch. Okay.
What was it after Black Friday? The EOS R was what, 1,700 or less?
It was as low as 12. It was as low as $12.99. For $12.99, I could pick up the EOS R and just have it sitting around for $12.99. Because it was like $14.99 plus like an educational discount made it $12.99. It was going from dirt cheap. Like at that point, like why wouldn't you buy an EOS R if you already shoot Canon?
That's why I bought it. I had initially I bought it on the Black Friday for 17 and change, and then days later they dropped the price again. And I called up Adorama. I was like, "Look, give me a discount. Give me," and they did. They cut it off.
Oh dang! Oh, so they did the price match or whatever?
Yeah. Well, yeah. They basically comp me the difference.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. That's a nice little move right there. Yeah, Canon. Go ahead and flood the market with that EOS R and give people. And like I make the joke about I'm switching because you see all of these videos about switching back to Canon. And I'm like, yo, where were all you guys like a year ago when everybody was bashing the Canon? I remember, I think it was Omar, whatever. He was like, yeah, I actually was one of those people that bashed the camera. He never used it. He was like, yeah, I bashed it too, just because of, everybody else was talking about it and what it had. And I'm like, dang, if you felt so strongly about it then, is it just a firmware update that changed it for you? Like what else? Because the camera is essentially the same camera that when it came out. Like it's still got the same crop. There's no firmware to update that. If you wanted a joystick, that hasn't changed. It still got the same one card slot. So yeah, the focus is a little bit better and it's a little bit more accurate. But for the most part, the camera is still the same camera it was when it was released. Same thing with the Z6. And so for so many people to have bashed it, and now all of a sudden change their tune, it just shows that like people are just so full of shit at the end of the day. Like, because
the only thing I would agree with what everyone has been saying in terms of negative things about the EOS R is the touch bar. I can't find a reason to utilize that touch bar.
Garbage. It's straight garbage. But nobody uses that.
But everything else on that camera, I agree with you. Probably people didn't use the camera to make a proper assessment on whether or not that camera is good for people or not. That camera is perfectly fine for what you need to use it for. So, I don't understand why people are hating on the camera so much, but
yeah, I remember because when people talked about the EOS RP, EOS ERP, I was like, yo, like, and also I come from an area where like I teach at a school, and I'm like I'm seeing kids create like really cool images with like T3 eyes, like T3 eyes and T5 eyes. These kids like, hey, my parents got like $500. What camera do you recommend? Oh, get the T7i or T. Like I'm recommending these little cheap cameras, and I'm seeing these kids make some really cool pictures with like 6Ds. And so I come from an aspect of, if you have a good enough sensor, it's a full frame camera. All you need is the right lens and the right thing behind the eyepiece to work the camera, and you got like you're on your way. And so I'm just like, why is everybody so mad that this camera doesn't have these next level features when like it's just a camera to take photos? Like I don't understand. Like, and then at the price, like it was $1,000. I'm like, what are you guys mad at? Like it's $1,000 full frame camera. Like that was unheard of when we started. We bought that D700. That was the only full frame option available. It was like $2,500 for Nikon. Like if this EOS RP would have existed when I first started photography, that would have been the camera that we would have started with, because it was the same price as the D90 when we bought it. So I don't know. Some people, man, I swear.
Yeah, the camera only will give you a handicap if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah, people really like, and I think that like we're coming to an era where like people are really depending on like the camera's features to make life easy for them, which I get. But like you just hear people complaining like really loud in the comments about how it doesn't have this feature or it doesn't have that feature. And I'm like, can it focus accurately? Like, is the focus tracking there? Like, okay, what lenses does it take? How many megapixels? Does it have good dynamic? All of that. If it ticks all of those boxes, all the other stuff is just kind of like, inconsequential.
I think a lot of people boo-booed on the RP just because it was inexpensive. People expect, like if you're not buying top of the line, then it's garbage.
Mm-hmm. This Sean just made a comment, and it's like people have conditioned in the music as a piano, and that's so true, man. That is so true. It's like that is like
that's a great comment, Sean.
For real. It depends on what you're using it for. The limitation is 60 wouldn't work for a pro, but for the Joe Smo, it's fine. That I agree, Tariq. But that's the thing. Like, if they were charging like $2,500 for the RP, I get it. $2,500 for that? Come on, bro. Like, because and that was another issue with the EOS R. It was $23.99. I think it was $22.99. It was $2,200 when it came out. So like, it was priced at a price where like, okay, this is what you give me for this price. If you would come down in price, it'd be worth it, but not at this price. But the RP was priced perfectly for what it gave you. It was priced perfectly.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand Canon's methodology behind how they initially priced the EOS R. I don't understand that at all. That for me, I didn't purchase that camera because that price didn't make any sense to me, and I just didn't buy it. But when it went on sale, I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. I'll go ahead and pick that up. But yeah, that price point was ridiculous.
It didn't seem like it made sense in comparison to like what else was on the market either, because you can get an A7 III for what, $19.99, and then you get the R, and it didn't make any sense.
Well, not in comparison to what was on the market. The reason it didn't make any sense to me is because this is not their top of the line camera. We all know this is not their top of the line, and when they do bring the equivalent camera that's supposed to be like the pro camera, what are they going to price it at? $10? Who's going to buy that? I mean, the price point was just ridiculous for the EOS R. It didn't make much sense.
And that's the thing that kept me from owning a D5 or a D6, is I'm like, this is the camera that has everything you'd wanted, but it's $6,000. Psych. Like that's way out of my budget. Exactly. And then you gotta have two of them. Oh, you can't have one. You gotta have that, and you gotta have the backup. Like, all right, cool. So,
yeah,
the hot 5D Mark IV hitting. What do you say? Canon by itself will sell their ish. The Canon name, and that's the thing. Like, it's funny because I don't think I talked about this. Like, you know, Canon's always been number one, Nikon's been number two, and Sony was number three. Now Sony's number two. And most of the time, like when you see the camera comments back and forth, it's either people are like, it's either Sony people making fun of Canon or Canon people making fun of Sony. Nikon, you might hear that, but it's always been kind of Sony and Canon going back and forth. And I would wager to say that most of the people who shoot Sony, not all, most of the people who shoot Sony used to shoot Canon or had some kind of connection with Canon before they went to Sony, because a lot of people had their Metabones adapter with an adapted Canon glass, or the Sigma MC with, because Nikon adapted glass was a fail. Like you was gonna switch from Nikon to Sony, you had to just give up and just try all over again. But now that Canon's actually, like, I guess, trying to be competitive, it's like this big switch. Like now people who've been shooting Sony, who kind of were like, oh yeah, team Sony, but deep down inside were like, I'm not completely sold, but now I'm on the fence and I got it and I got to commit to it. Now that Canon is starting to come out with like a better viable options, I'm starting to see a whole lot of people switch back from Sony to Canon. And you hear I tried Sony and I just was never convinced, or, you know, it just never works out for me, or Canon colors, or whatever the case would be. And I'm just like, y'all guys are all, you know, trash. But anyways, okay, that's what you want to, if that's what you want to lean on. Sony is crap. John, don't you shoot Sony? You shoot the Sony A7 RT. But I've always said that, like, I think that, like, there's gonna come a point where, like, you know, they talk about the law of diminishing returns, where, like, as good as technology is gonna get, like we said about the EOS RP, at some point it's not gonna matter. Like, okay, if your camera can focus at 2 milliseconds and mine can focus at 4 milliseconds, that's like milliseconds. Like, that is not gonna make much of a difference if my subject is standing right in front of me and they're not moving, or they're just walking down a catwalk. Like, that's not gonna be a that are gonna keep people around, or the image quality, the name, the lenses that they have. And Canon has some nice lenses, and Canon's system is set up. They like have a legacy that's just kind of, I think, set them up to be ready for the future. The only thing saving Canon is their glass. That EF glass is so cheap.
Yeah, Canon has nothing but opportunity to rise here. I mean, they already see the roadmap, which Sony basically laid it out for them, and if they just continue to innovate, they will be totally fine. But if they stop innovating, then, you know, Sony would just take them to school and take everything off of, just like for Nikon, take everything away from them. So I think they're doing the right thing. Go ahead, sorry.
It has to innovate. I think Canon just has to do what Sony did. Like, it isn't like, I feel like if Sony put out a camera, if Canon put out a camera tomorrow, like if the EOS R Mark II essentially matched the Sony A7 III, it would sell like crazy, because the A7 III is like good enough for 99% of the people out there. Like, if it's, let's say it's 36 mega, whatever, a little bit bumping megapixels, but it's the same frame rate as A7 III. It shoots 4K uncropped. Yeah, they could even miss out on 4K 60, and a lot of people probably wouldn't make too much of a fuss. But if it shot 1080p 120, if the focus was just as good as the A7 III, and the same Canon body with the Canon lenses with the joystick, it would sell like hotcakes. Canon they don't have to beat Sony, they just have to be Sony, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just have to improve. Now the joystick, that was something that I thought I would have missed on the EOS R. But the fact that you could actually reposition the focus point on the back of the camera while you have the lens to your eyes, I'm sorry, while you have the viewfinder to your eyes, that to me I thought would have been like a gimmick, because I used it on the Sony A7 III, because the Sony A7 III has it along with the joystick as well. But on the Sony A7 III, that to me was just like trash. I never really used it that well. But on the EOS R, when I'm using it, it actually is very, very responsive for me. I like it, but I'm not relying on the eye autofocus to do its thing.
Gotcha. Well, so what is it? What I was going to ask you, like you have the adapter, right? For your Canon EF glass? You have the EF adapter with your EF glass?
What about yeah, I do.
Like, how is the performance? Like, how's it?
It works flawlessly.
And that's another point. Like, they already have the adapted glass. They have the EF adapter, and Canon's like long line of legacy glass that works flawlessly with their adapter, as well as the new stuff that they're coming out with. It's like a win-win. Like, so like I said, I just think all Canon has to do is come out with something that matches like A7 III at least, and they'll be fine. That'll stop the bleeding per se. People won't, you know, they won't be a big switch. Now, Sony will probably always be ahead as far as innovation, but like I said, like the A7R4 has 61 megapixels. Unless you want 61 megapixels, there's no other reason to buy the A7R4 outside of that megapixel bump. Everything else is kind of like incremental, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody had a comment that they wanted me to read. Like,
that's why I said the EF line is the Canon's cheap camera line, cheap lens line, because you could attach that using their adapter, and that lens work just like it's a native lens.
Yeah. By this time, I thought Canon would have made a medium format camera. Shrug. Desmond. Would Sony kill Canon if they fully adapt articulate? No, like there's a lot of people like the YouTube bubble. I think also, you know, we get caught up in the YouTube bubble or the Facebook or the forum bubble that you think, or you see Sony A7, Sony, you think it's like the world is so big that like Sony, even with the amount of cameras that they sold, they count how many cameras are being sold each year, but nobody's counting what already exists out there, right? And there's so many people with Canons that already exist that are just waiting to like upgrade or switch back, like the people that are switching back. I don't think it's a flip screen that's going to save Sony or anybody like that. I just think that like Sony just they're new, they're still new, and so they're still developing a name. And so you can't take the top spot of somebody if they're gonna try, if they start trying. Canon's like Nintendo. It's like, yo, Nintendo just stopped caring about the people who were like 16 to 35 or whatever, and they let Sony take over. But if Nintendo would have tried, it would have been no PlayStation.
Yeah, I think the internet will lose their mind though. If Sony put that flip screen on one of their cameras.
Oh, bro, who you telling? That's the reason I still use this Panasonic G80. I keep trying to come out, but then it does this, and I'm like, I need the screen. I need the flip screen, bro. So I'm just gonna just use this. This right here is so crazy how like the manufacturer is taking this simple thing for granted. Like this is 40% of the fight right here is just this. Oh. In this content creator world that we live in for, you know, Instagram and TikTok and content, and they just still haven't figured out that like, yo, if you just flood the market with these, you good.
Yeah, my wife has an A60 400 and it does the flip up, and it's annoying because we had to buy the stupid little bracket to move the mic to the side. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like the EOS R, it's fine. It does a little flippy action too, which is neat. I don't know. I don't get it. It's like, why would
you? Bro, that's just so easy. That right there. Everybody's like, yo, another reason I switch is the flip screen. I love and people who haven't used it don't understand. Like if you ever try to record yourself or vlog and having something to see what you look like, that's half the battle right there.
The only thing I find myself doing is just looking at the screen instead of looking at the lens.
Yeah, you got to get over that part. But that, you know, once you get used to, you know, that part, that's cool. But at least it exists. Somebody says, what does Nikon have to do? All of the Nikon owners are just SOL. Robert Brown. Nikon has to just, you know, listen, I guess, to their consumers. Really, because like I said, the Z6 is a solid camera. Like the only complaints that I have are complaints that either can be solved with either a firmware update or version 2 of this. Same thing with Canon. Like I still argue that the Z6 is the best camera overall under $2,000. The best full frame camera under $2,000. Based on, even when you think about that RAW update, the 12-bit 4K RAW recording video, that's like basically a cinema camera for under $2,000. And then with this mirrorless lens, you can adapt any lens. It shoots 1080p 120. It has great dynamic range. It's 24 megapixels. Like, spec wise, it's kind of hard to beat.
Didn't you adapt some Sony lenses to your Nikon?
I have the Tech Art adapter. I just did that just cut for cloud or whatever, just to play around. And like all my friends own Sony, like Victor, Stan, they all shoot Sony. So I'm like, oh, if they ever have lenses and I'm ever shooting out, I could use any of their lenses. And then also part of it was like, yo, if this adapter works for Nikon, like how the Sigma MC11 adapter worked for Sony and Canon, then I could buy like the Tamron 17-28 or whatever and be cool. And I tried it and it didn't work like I thought it would. Like, it was an ultimate fail. So I was like, yeah, this doesn't, like the 28-75 was not really that great. Like, it only worked in the center, and the 17-28 was okay, but it wasn't like good enough for me. Because if I were going to use a lens like that, I'm gonna use it like in a real working situation, and it just wasn't enough. Like, if I was just going to shoot like portraits, it'd be cool, but for what I was planning on using it for, it wasn't good enough. So I kind of nixed it. But just because I have it, now I can use it for like lens tests and do the Sony versus Nikon comparison and use the exact same lenses and all that stuff. So Jay Harvard had a point. He says Nikon shooters don't upgrade their cameras like others do. Yeah, that's true. Nikon people are like, they're just straight shooters, man. Like, you make a great camera and we'll use it and we good. Like, it's not always flip flam and upgrade and every five seconds, every 2 months. It's like, yo, give us something great and we good to go. What y'all think about that 1DX Mark III? And that's the thing. Like, the 1DX Mark III, when you look at the specs on that camera, that shows that like Canon is capable of shutting everybody down with the 1DX. 4K 60, I think 14 frames per second, higher megapixels. Like, it has everything that you would want. It's just a DSLR and not a mirrorless. But if they put that in a mirrorless, it's over.
Did they say if that 4K is cropped or the 60 frames?
It probably is. It probably is cropped, but at least it can do it. Like, I've not seen anything that can shoot full frame 4K. So if it is cropped, it's on par with everything else. Because the X-T3 shoots 4K 60, but that camera's already cropped anyways. It's a APS-C camera, and the Panasonic shoots 4K cropped on their cameras. Like, there's no full frame 4K 60 camera that I know of outside of cinema cameras. So
hopefully their 4K is not cropped.
I don't blame
that camera looks like a beast though.
I am Judor. Hey, yo, Judor, he says I'll be good with the EOS R for a while. Judor, yo, send me some of your models, yo. All right. Where you at again? Where are you even at, Judor? Are you in like where are you based at? Because I need to know what a plug is to come out and see. Because, yo, every time I find somebody on the Instagram Explorer page, I go to click on them and I see I am Jador. Like, I'm like, yo, why you all like, bro? Bet money if I pull up the Explorer page right now and pull up my face, it's gonna show he liked it. I'm like, yo, he got good taste. Yo, bro.
Use that because he's on the hunt.
Look here, I need to go to France. All right. I said, yo, this is where all the baddies at in France. Book my another flight. What's up, Ashley? It's British. Oh yeah, he's the British. Yeah. He's the UK. He's the bruv. Cars is like I'm a Nikon shooter. I use the 1DX Mark III while assisting the NFL. My God, I can only imagine what the Mark IV gonna be like. Is it the Mark III? I think it's the. I think you use the Mark II because the Mark III is the next one, Carl. Oh, he's based in London. Okay. Yeah, London. Yeah. Y'all is that isn't Brexit about to happen? I wonder what that's gonna do for everybody from the people in London. Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, what does it even mean? Like, what does Brexit even mean for?
I don't know.
I had high hopes for Samsung mirrorless when they released. It's a shame it never lasts. You know, that's Samsung. That's the thing. These big like consumer electronic. Like I feel like Panasonic is if there was anybody that could compete with Sony as far as innovation is concerned, I think it's Panasonic. Because if you look at Panasonic's cameras, all of their cameras have great features. Like they've had 4K 60 and damn near all of their like professional grade cameras since like the GH5. The G9 had 4K, GH6 had 4K 60. The Panasonics have some great. They all have flip out screens. Like the Panasonics have all been great cameras. The only issue is that they were like micro four thirds sensors, and then they come out with the full frame cameras. Even their full frame specs are really good. The price is a bit expensive, but spec wise, you can't really knock Panasonic. They've been keeping up with Sony and actually doing better in some areas. It's just it's Panasonic.
But didn't they on the full frame cameras? Didn't they drop the flip screen?
I think they did. They dropped the flip on the SH1. The 6K one has a flip screen, but the two other ones don't. They don't explain Brexit. Some about taxes.
Did Manny actually say that? Manny said the Z6 is trash. Did he really say that?
He didn't say that. He didn't say that per se. He said he couldn't. He said he couldn't recommend it to because the autofocus wasn't that reliable. And I'm like, I mean,
okay.
My only beef with that was that it was just like he titled the video as I can't recommend the Nikon because of this, and then he went on to talk about the autofocus not being that great or whatever. And I'm like, well, there's more to a camera than autofocus. So I mean, I guess if autofocus is the thing that makes it, because essentially speaking of, like a lot of people were like, oh, the autofocus is better than Canon now. So it seems like autofocus is the thing that you got to have, or else like nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how great your dynamic range is, how great the camera feels, how good the glass is, how great the interface is, how easy it is to use. If your autofocus ain't up to bar, you might as well throw it away. Basically is what it essentially comes down to. He said nope.
It is nice. It is very nice. I will say that.
It is.
So he was like, yeah,
it's a convenient feature, but you know, if you've been shooting for quite some time, you know, before autofocus existed, it's not a feature that will make or break you as a photographer. But if you're new into photography, you know, it's definitely something that is make the process a lot more easier for you, especially if you shoot portraits and stuff like that. And
well, yeah, but then
go ahead.
I was gonna say in even with that, autofocus only works for portraits with one person in the frame. Like with one, like if you ever get to a situation where there's multiple people, then it becomes an issue, and the autofocus doesn't become as convenient because now it's like, oh, is it the right eye? It's the wrong eye. So then you're better off using the focus point. And so, like, even as much as great as autofocus is, if all you do is shoot one single person and you don't shoot weddings or you don't shoot events, because I find myself shooting more single point focus because I'm shooting weddings and events and all kinds of stuff. So I just, you know, the joystick matters more to me than how, you know, much the autofocus catches. I can at least move the joystick around. My issue with the Nikon system is that, like, I wish that there was a button to enable it so I could use the focus point and then press a button for autofocus instead of like how Sony's is, where like if you have press, it goes into autofocus. But if not, you can just use the focus point. I just wish it was like that. Like that's my only issue.
Yeah, that's a good point, because while I was shooting that wedding 2 weeks ago, eye autofocus wasn't that helpful, especially going down like the ceremony and stuff like that. I just had to just rely on the single point focus and just use the back of the back of the screen to focus. So
so
that is a good point.
It's only convenient when it works, because I've had instances where, you know, groups of people or even individuals, it just wasn't working right. So then you got to dive into a menu or do something different, because it's not intuitive to use the joystick on the A7 III either.
Yeah. No, but like Mike said, you can set it on the Sony where you could say, okay, use the eye autofocus or not. So that's a good feature that you could actually, you know, program. And I think I have that set on my Sony A7 III. Do it on the Canon yet, because I only had the Canon for a short time. But if I do, I will change that for sure.
Yeah. People lazy. The eye focus. People lazy. Yeah, no, I use it in the studio. I'm like, all right, let me just use it in the studio, but it's not like it's one of those things when like I said, when I use it, it's like, okay, cool. I'll just let this do this and then I'll just compose. But if it doesn't work or if I have issue, I have no issue with switching back to the focus point. Like I'm gonna get my shot regardless. Like I've not missed a shot or not gotten a shot because of autofocus. That's not going down.
So do you think shooting portraits at like a shallow depth of field, it helps to have mirrorless, not even eye autofocus, but just in general for shooting portraits?
Yes, I agree with that. Because the one lens that I never used often on my 5D Mark III was my 85 1.2 lens. I hated using that lens because 1 out of 10 shots is always in focus, out of focus, and I can't use it. When I started using that on the EOS R, that percentage was like from 8 out of 10 shots were in focus at 1.2. So I would say yes to that.
Then you see how soft that lens is. You're like, dang, this lens is soft.
So do you think that has more to do with the mirror moving or just mirrorless itself? Because I feel like the mirror, it slaps and flaps and then stuff's out of focus because of that too.
No, it's the focus. The focus system with mirrorless is on the sensor. So with normal cameras, the focusing system is separate from the actual sensor. It's like like they have used the mirror to like bounce the phase detect sensor like off of the glass, or like kind of it calibrated to show you that it's in focus, but it may not be, or maybe off by a slight bit. Whereas with mirrorless, this focusing sensor is on the actual like image sensor itself. So if this image sensor says it's in focus, more than likely it's in focus. And then the only thing that will make it out of focus is if you move a little bit. Like, so if you're shooting at f1.2 and this is in focus and then you move slightly, then you'll be out of focus. But it has more to do with the technology than necessarily like the flapping of the mirror or the sensor or whatever. It's just kind of how it's built. Because the D850 and like I said, the D850 and the D700, I never had any issues with even the D750. The D750 is straight on autofocusing. My D800 is the only one that will kind of like mess with me every now and then, just because I guess the D800 just had issues like that. But and for Canon people, I mean, I've only shot Canon every once in a while. I'm not like a big long-term Canon user, but I've always heard complaints about the Canons having focusing issues. So,
well, that could be one of the reasons that I didn't use my 85. That's probably it.
Yeah,
but my 70-200, which is my favorite lens that I shoot with all the time, never have any problems with focusing on that. That's always spot on.
Yeah, Jador says definitely. My 60 was always out of focus. Same lens on RP and focus every shot. Yeah, so apparently it isn't the lens. It was the focusing system in the actual cameras, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what's up? What's going on for the new year with y'all? What's everybody got planned for the new year? Jacqueline, why don't you hit the link? tap into the link, Jacqueline.
I'm gonna stay at home, drink some drinks, go to sleep. That's about it.
Oh, for you. Go ahead, Bryson. You said what?
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said, Ernesto.
I said he's gonna do that all of the new year, Mike, or you're just gonna do that on the
Oh,
first?
yeah. No, every day. You gotta enjoy it if you're gonna do it.
I hear that. No, you know what? This is good. I want to try to figure out 2020. I'm coming to the US to shoot some Ignite models for sure. Wait, who is Ignite? What's Ignite models? What's that?
Ignite. Why that sounds or something? I don't know what that. This sounds familiar though.
They be popping in my hood, Sean said. They be Sean, were you in South Side of Chicago, Sean? You in New Jersey? No, I don't know. For me, I don't know if I have any resolutions. Oh, this is my theme. This is my theme for the next new year. Okay. 2020 is the year of cashing out. All right. I'm cashing out 2020. I'm gonna try to figure out this Patreon thing. Okay. She's on 12 a.m. in bed already. I live in Jersey. I'm gonna try to figure out this Patreon thing. I'm gonna try to get these Skillshare courses popping to get that residual income, and then I'm gonna try to figure out how to get these workshops popping. So I'm trying to cash in on all of these and see how much y'all really love me. All right. When they ask for them raws, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a small little fee for them raw files. See how much y'all really.
Subscribe to my Patreon.
Right, something. I was thinking about doing. So I was thinking about doing like a Facebook group or something. Like having a Patreon where like you can like a low level just to support the movement, and then there's a high level where it's like an exclusive Facebook group where like I'm a little bit more in tune and where like I answer questions and more one-on-one type of stuff, kind of like a master class, but not necessarily a class, but just like more access to kind of like do Q&A and like really focus, because a lot of times I'll do videos and I'll talk about stuff and it's always general, like, you know, because a 10-minute video, here's the general knowledge. If you're good at like deconstructing and reverse engineering, you can figure out what I did and you can do the same thing. But sometimes people have deeper questions and they want to have like more in-depth detail, and that like I don't have time. I just can't like do everything. So if I have a group that is for members only, quote unquote, that you got to pay for, one, it's on purpose because it'll filter out people who really don't care. It'll keep the membership small, essentially, I guess. I think it'll keep it small so that people who do have questions or do want to talk about stuff get access, instead of like a group of 7,000 people and posts get buried, and you know it becomes into like a popularity contest. You know what I mean? I'd pay a small fee for the raws, to be honest. You know, so here's the thing. So for example, say like the hot spring shoot, right? Personally, I'm leaning towards being over. I'm just kind of like, I thought, I'm like, man, I want to go back to the hot springs, but I'm just gonna take the same photos I took last time, the time before. I don't have anything left for that space, creativity wise. Like it'll just be me creating the same kind of stuff with a different model. If I do want to do something different, I want to do something with lighting. And so I would have to bring a flash and do off-camera flash. But that involves getting another person because it's a whole lot of work. So it becomes quite the chore to go to the hot springs. But if I was financially motivated, then maybe we could figure out some stuff. Right? Now, if I'm shooting for the homies back at home and I'm like, yo, I got to come through with something for the boys. Look here, okay? You can see the best raws you ever seen in your life, all right? Or you want me to shoot Canon? Okay, cool. Well, with the funds, I can go rent the Canon or borrow it and get a lens and whatever you want to see. Like the financial motivation, I'm more likely to do more stuff and try harder. But like, bro, it's a 2-hour drive to get to the hot. Then you got to hike up there. It's a whole day adventure. And then I got to be able to leave the house. Like, I got 2 kids now. The last 2 times I only had 1 kid, 1.5. Like, man, And then somebody, you know, people keep rumouring about a third one. I'm just like, bro. Anyways,
they're gonna take care of the third one, man.
Yeah, right. But for real, I was just like, the last time I went up, I was like, man, this is cost me a lot of time and money to go up here and do. And then the video be so raunchy, I can't monetize the video. Like, as many views as the video gets, like, it's either going to be demonetized or limited monetization. And so I'm just like, well, I might as well just chuck this as a L, like a loss leader, and just kind of do it for the culture, which I did. But it'd be nice for all of the effort that I put into it to get something back from it, you know.
I might have paid for next them raws.
I'm like, who can I get the content? Then now that the level of model has been set standard, and I gotta raise the bar, like all this stuff that I go through. Get your Roberto Blake on Ike, make that content and charge $100 for it, right? Ain't nobody got time to drive 2 hours. Definitely got to be more, bro. Ashley, the first time it was like, yo, I got to get to the spot, and the first time I did it, I was like, oh, this was great. The second time I was like, man, I want to go back. All right, I did it twice. So all right, kind of more the same. All right, cool, I'm done. That second time I bought the flash, and I was like, oh, I got one off-camera flash photo. It would have been better if I could have got more, but the situation didn't permit for it. So OnlyFans, right? OnlyFans, exactly, Tariq. See, I got all kinds of footage, but I'm like, that's gonna go in the vault because I can't. If I put it out, it's going to get demonetized or taken down. So it's like, well, there's no point in me recording it or having it because I can't do anything with the footage. So, but if there was a Patreon group, trust me, all these shoots that I be doing, and people are like, oh, I want to do them. Like, well, let me cut the camera off before you record this one. All right, cut the camera back on. Okay, so YouTube, we're back. Cast at it again, right? YouTube changing the monetization though. I don't know what YouTube is doing right now with the monetization, but you would go in a group, answer questions, and fall asleep 5 minutes after. Huh? Or Copper?
What is that? Copper, whatever it is. That's
Yo, Jador said I got on. Jador, is that how you be able to travel across to France and Europe? Because you got the OnlyFans? Yo, Jador, you must be 2020 son, yo. This is low-key 2020 photography. You said I got that OnlyFans. The last letters from the CEO address this. Kind of. Oh, my demonetization may be going away. Demonetization. Yeah. Oh, I think they said something like we're gonna change it to where they're gonna make it so that you can like make a little bit more money from it. But even still, like you got that on top of like if the algorithm likes you, so like now my videos don't get as much views as they used to because the algorithm is like, yo, if the first set of people don't click your video, we gonna stop showing it, and then YouTube will bury it, and then it's just like so. All kinds of like tricks and stuff you got to do to get play on YouTube, and I'm just like, all right, well. I got my set of core people and I still want to make videos for people, but like it's a process. Appropriate sponsors.
Wow. My channel never
this
make
video
any
was
money
sponsored by Skillshare. Did you ever get that thing fixed? Is that a note?
So that's
bro, you got a whole retirement account, bro.
That's
you
what I
retire,
thought I had, you know. Not getting the pit. So I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do with this is like there's funds there, but I can't touch it. I can't get a check for it. So I'm basically doing this for the love of it. You know what I mean?
You guys, Ernesto does not make any money yet. He's not making any money. So all the videos that he's made has been for free. Okay. So that should show you.
And I think
I don't know if YouTube's gonna be like a big revenue stream moving forward, though. I don't know, with all the changes that they've been making, it's odd.
Well, so I think more so like, you know, if you're gonna, well, they have a lot of celebrities coming on now, so I think the game is changing as far as like on that front. Like the photography is like a small niche, community. The YouTube is more for like the internet and music and memes and stuff like that, and for the young kids, like people like us grown-ups that do photography, or like this is like a small niche that they're like, okay, cool, y'all do whatever y'all want to, we'll figure it out later. And so, but YouTube has helped me build a brand, like up my brand outside of Ike and Tosh, like, as Photo Me Ike. And so, like, if I want to come out with presets or like courses in the future, I always thought like it'd be nice to be like, hey, for me to be like, this video is sponsored by Skillshare, and then throw in my Skillshare course and then play my shit in the background. So that's like, that would be the ultimate meta. Like, hey, sponsored by Skillshare. One of my favorite courses is Mastering Natural Light Photography by a photographer named Ike. Because here's the thing. This is the thing with Skillshare. This is what this company called Market Watch. They reach out to me like, hey, we want you to work with Skillshare. So like, I could essentially get the deal from Market Watch, and then just put my little, and then they probably wouldn't even notice it, because you know how like LL Cool J got away with FUBU hat because he didn't know better when he did the Gap commercial. It kind of be like that. It's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna just slip in Photo Me Ike in the Skillshare. Yeah, sign up for Skillshare. Hit the link in the description below, and then you go and watch my Skillshare, and then I'm getting money from that. I'm the ultimate scammer. All right, let me stop. I need to stop putting the game out there, because I'm really putting myself out here showing all my tricks. But I'm just saying, if you see it happen, you heard it here first. All right.
So do you think revenue stream wise, do you think that it's easier to get like a couple big sales, or just do something that's constant and like evergreen type content?
I think the evergreen type content will make money for the on the longer scale. I don't know the numbers to know which one works better. Like if you hit a lick and you sell $10,000 worth of sales for like some kind of course in a day, or in a month, or like having a course run for like 2 years and making $10,000 over the course of 2 years. I don't know the numbers, but I guess depending on the content that you're making, I think it all depends on the type of content that you're making and what platforms you sell it on. So for example, educational content, you could put it on Skillshare and Udemy, and if your stuff gets enough views, you can make a good chunk of change. Because every time I get on Skillshare, they're like, hey, if you want to teach classes, the top instructors make 6 figures a year. So basically, there are people who are making a 6-figure income making Skillshare courses. Like, so
I mean, but you're already teaching anyway, right? So I don't know if you
what do you mean?
Like at the school, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about on the internet. Like I'm just like making courses on the internet. So like, so for example, if I make a natural light video tutorial on YouTube, that's one video, right? And that kind of condensed like, 10 years of me learning natural light into like a 10-minute video, whereas Skillshare would be set up to where like it's like 6 different videos. The first video is like, all right, first you want to figure out which light you can, and it's kind of like how I teach at school. Is like I'll teach a lesson on exposure, depth of field, backlighting, front lighting, how to find light. So I would just really break down into sections. And that's actually what I like about Skillshare. Like I do use it personally. So outside of the monetization, like I go up there and I like look at courses, and like it's easier to learn stuff on Skillshare because it's broken down. It's not like a video with ads in the middle or sponsorship. It's like really just you in the course. And like the first video is, okay, here's how to get to know your camera. The second course, here's the lighting that you want to shoot in. You want to shoot in this kind of lighting, blah, blah, blah. Second course, okay, you want to be able to picture person in this position. Here's the difference between this setup. So it's really, really broken down because you're there to learn as opposed to like get as much as you can in like 10, 15 minutes or even 5 minutes. So like Skillshare is a much, if you're trying to actually learn stuff, it's a better platform to learn on because it's really focused on teaching you as opposed to YouTube. It's just kind of whatever there is. It says neither Skillshare nor Udemy restricts teachers from posting on other platforms. Yeah, so you have Skillshare and you have Udemy. So, and that's just there. So like, if I'm doing this stuff anyway, and I make a course for it, once it's done, it's done. Like it can be there for years and years and years and make money. And then I can go on and do other stuff. It's not like, oh, this is only going to be good for the next 90 days. And after 90 days, you have to make a new one. So it's like YouTube. Like YouTube is basically search algorithm. So like you can make evergreen content on YouTube, but like if your stuff doesn't rank correctly, somebody could outrank you in search and they get all the views for some great knowledgeable content that you actually might have a better video on. But because this person put the right SEO stuff, this stuff is going to come up before yours. So there's a lot of stuff, you know, that can be like involved. But that's just one thing. That's just that, right? And then you have, you know, the workshops and the presets and the Patreons. There's so many different revenues and avenues to make money off of photography without actually taking pictures.
Could you
although I do it
on your own, like on your own website?
You said what now?
Could you put your course on your own website? In addition,
I could. Yeah, you know, you could. Yeah,
Sure.
you could. And that's the thing. Like, I could make my natural light course, put it for free on YouTube, and put it on Skillshare, and put it on Udemy, and put it on my because, and you know, a few people be like, yo, that's the same thing that's on YouTube for free. Why am I gonna pay? But then there's going to be somebody who don't know and they're going to pay for it. Like, they're like, oh, this is free here. You mean tell me I paid for this when it was free on it? Like, not everybody sees everything. So,
well, then it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're a content creator and you have content to make, I mean, a lot of people have like their schools, like, oh, come to my school and do this, but you know, these people have like I think Jerry Gilnis has A7siii. Even like Sam Hurd has his Patreon group, but their names are big. They're big names. Like they are proven, tried and true. They've been doing this for a long time. And so, like, you know, Sam, his Skillshare, he's probably making like $10,000 a month off of his Skillshare, it's his Patreon. And this guy still shoots weddings. He shoots weddings, all kinds of events, and he still has a Patreon that's sold out. Jay Harwood said, "Be like Colson." Let me see if I can pull this joint up. I was like, "Dang, bro, you raking in the dollars."
So you better get that Patreon.
Sam Hurd Patreon. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to start small. Who knows? You know, like, here's the thing. It's only going to get better with me. Like, I'm only going to get bigger and better. So. Oh, let me see if I can pull up this window. Oh, here we go. Screen share. This one. Okay, you guys can see it?
Yep.
Bro. His basic one is $10 a month, right? Then there's a $15 a month one, and then there's $1,000 a month, and it's limited, and there's none left. His referral base is basically like he refers his clients. So let's say somebody, if he's booked for a wedding, because he gets a lot of bookings, if he's booked, he'll refer his weddings out to you, and I guess his weddings are like close to up to 10,000 or more. So if you pay $1,000 a month and you book one wedding, it pays for itself for the whole year. Imagine booking 2 weddings off of him.
That's steep, though.
Off of his referral. Huh?
That's kind of steep, though.
It's sold out. It's sold out. 1,000. It's sold out. He has 1,214 patrons. All right. 1,002. And this is sold out. Where's my calculator? Let's do the math. Okay.
It's all about the numbers.
At $10, right? Let's just say, everybody, he got 1,000 $10 Patreons. 1,000, 1, 2, 1, 4. That's $12,000 a month he's making.
At the lowest level.
At the lowest. That's if this 1,200, if everybody got the $10 one. That's not including the 15. He's making 12,000. It says limited one remaining, bro. How do you got one spot left? But you know what I'm saying? Like, now, by all means, this guy, he's worth it. Like, to be honest with you, like, he's an amazing photographer. Like, I I can't knock him for it because like he's worth it. Like if I was going to take a workshop today, I'd take his. In this day and age, the way his photography is amazing. Let me see if it pulls up his Instagram. Yeah, this is Sam Hurd, bro. Oh, this is an IGTV. Screw that. And sometimes I see stuff. Oh, that's a dope shirt. Damn it! Why didn't I think of that? Some of his stuff is just like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Or like, oh, that's amazing. Or like, what the hell is this? Or how did they do that? And yeah.
So what percentage do you think it's obviously like his composition's good, this, that, and the other, but even for you, how much of your style, what have you, is editing as opposed to posing and the lighting and stuff? Because it seems like
he taught at Blink once. Like I seen him speak, and so like for example, like an image like this, where's something like this isn't like anything that's like, oh wow, this is amazing. It's not anything that I couldn't replicate. And I think something like this, like I think he might have used like his phone or like his or some kind of prism to make an image like this. But I think the thing with him, or what he would teach, or what his work is more of his perspective, I guess, is if the way to put it, like interesting perspective. So like this kind of perspective is like, wait, how'd you think of this? And first of all, how'd you do this? And his stuff is basically in camera. He doesn't do a lot of Photoshop tricks. So like he did this in camera, and I'm like, well, how'd you get the person up there versus below? How is he out of focus and this person's in? Like, what'd you do to get this? You know, his perspective is just one of the most interesting things I've seen, and I've not seen anybody like replicate it. Like, it's like, wait, what? How'd you do this? What made you put the mirror here? And how'd you edit it? Like, it's just all of the above. Like, this is easy. This I've seen this before. This is not too much of a trick, but every once in a while you come across a wait, what type of photo. So like this right here, like this is cool, but like, oh, I would have never thought to do that. And so yeah, he's dope. And then he does like high-end stuff too, like celebrities and stuff. Alec Baldwin, Denzel. That alone, like, oh, you got Denzel in your book. You good with me. Jeff. These ain't even that impressive. He just the fact that he shot him. Like, oh, all right, cool. You got Nick Jonas? Sweet. Michael Phelps. Bro's connected. So yeah. Stop sharing. Oh, let me pull up my this is, see, I did an engagement session the other day, and I'll show y'all what I was working with. I ain't afraid to put myself out there. I think if you did a subscription based off a website for $20 a month with uncensored session, you could do a lot. That's another thing, John. See, then I'd have to do the stuff. Like, all right, well, I'm used to doing YouTube stuff, so I'm used to keeping it safe. If I'm gonna charge that kind of money, now I have to do the shoots.
Go get that Jason. You better watch out.
Right, yeah. Tosh be like, wait, what kind of, look, babe, I gotta do this, okay? They paying. We gotta do these shoots. Before you say something, this is how much money we made this month. Oh, all right, cool. Yo, I didn't tell you I'm using what's the name? More. What's it called? Capture One. Application window. Yeah, this one here, share.
Well, why are you why are you using Capture One now?
Just because it's easier. Well, it's not easy. Actually, it's harder. It's fucking harder than Lightroom. But the possibilities with Capture One are just greater than they are with Lightroom because of the color editor. And I'm still learning, but like this whole skin tone editor thing and advanced color editing and localizing colors and stuff like that, and to be able to make adjustments to colors based on like what is the word I'm looking for? Like based on like isolation, like isolating certain colors to make color edits, and there's a few other things. Like that's what I can think of off the top of my head. But there's a few other reasons why I like using it. And then also I can't think of no top 10 reasons off the top of my head. I can't tell you that.
That video.
Well, I use Capture One, and the only
why
reason
do you use it
is because of I just like the results straight into Capture One from the camera, straight into Capture One. I like that, like without actually doing anything.
The profile,
the
color profile. Yeah.
And also, you know, in terms of the contrast that it adds to it, and the level of sharpness that it adds to it is not, you know, too sharpened. And for the most part, all that I do in Capture One is just adjust the exposure if required, or increase the shadows and stuff like that. And then after that, straight into Photoshop. That's pretty much it. I only use Lightroom for like when I'm doing like weddings or events and stuff like that. But even now, like my last wedding that I did, I just dumped it into Capture One and basically did everything in there, like all the color correction, the color toning, all that stuff straight in Capture One. And I found it actually pretty easy. I thought it was actually pretty easy.
Yeah, I just edited a whole session in Capture One, and I use I like the profile. I like how you can use all these different profiles with like different colored. Like it's almost like presets, almost like it is like presets, but it's like those little bit of color adjustments can make all of the difference in like the skin tones and the undertones and things like that. And so I was like, yo, this is amazing. The fact that they can do all this and has all of them stored in. I thought that was dope. I like the color editor. This thing right here, especially for skin tone editing, is amazing. All of this stuff is just kind of normal stuff, but I do like that it has the Luma curve as opposed to the RGB curve, and you have all of these things. And then the layers aspect, because like if you want to make adjustments, you can do things by layers, which you can't really do on Lightroom. It's a Photoshop thing, layers is, but Lightroom doesn't have layers. You can make you can make adjustments with the brushes, but you have to keep making new brushes. And then it is not localized like how a layer is. So I like being able to have layers and make an adjustment on one layer and then make an adjustment on a different layer and have them be able to toggle them on. So there's those things right there, the layers, the profiles, how it handles the images, much like your how you said, Ernesto, are the reasons that I'm like getting more and more to. I just have to get used to it. And I'm used to like how like I have like the Master and Labs presets that I use for my wedding work and stuff. So like this is just based on like how I edited it based on in the system. This is not a preset. This was like to taste. Whereas normally I would use like Master and Labs and I would just adjust the Master and Lab preset. This was just based on like what I thought looked good at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, all right, this works. Like I can get with this. Oh, you see this? I'm trying to use my little flare thing. My what is it called? My prism.
Radiant?
Yeah, no, prism. I used a prism on one of these images to try to get it. It was a big fail, but and then I took out the flash. And these images are solid. Like these like the couple loved them. Like they downloaded like a bunch. Oh, I didn't take the flash out yet. I just left it in. But like, and like this stuff is to me is like this is great work. Like this is solid. This is a great composition. Like the pose is perfect. But man, I don't know. It's just like I feel like Sam Hurd, he would have took something like this and then he would have did something even more crazier. And my thing is like, I know where my skill level is and I stop right here. And this is as far as I go. And then I'm like, all right, we got the shot. Let's go. Oh, you give him a kiss on the nose. Okay, I do all this stuff and that cute stuff. And I'm like, let's get some basic stuff. Okay, let's leave. And like, I don't really like push the envelope as far as creativity is concerned. I just really get like efficient, solid images, and then I move on. So I guess in terms of creativity, this is what I look up to Sam Hurd and people like that. My friend Josh Dwayne, like all of those guys are really good at being creative and like really thinking outside of the box. And I'm just trying to get a secure shot so we're good to go.
I mean, I've heard of people just, shooting to get the shot and then you just do something creative for you, whatever that is, whatever that means.
Yeah, this would be like getting a shot and then I'd be like, all right, let's try something new. You stand on his shoulders and then throw him up in the air and let's see, that's but I've seen I've seen a lot of stuff and I'm just like, wait, what? And I've seen work to where I'm like, yo, I could never get my couples to do that. Have I tried? No, but because it's not in me to think to do that. So, it's like, wait, how'd you get that? Like, wait a second, what? His feet? Like I saw one picture where like, it was just like a guy standing and then there were 2 feet. And I guess it's the lady's feet. And I'm like, damn, I would have never thought to do a picture like that, but it's such a cute, fun, interesting photo, So these are like my solids. Like
I experiment on my models.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah. So, but yeah, I this is the one I just posted. These are old. Actually, let me open Kizzy's. Open recent in the studio. And close this out. I wonder if it'll show. Oh, this is Kizzy. Damn it. You got to go for what? Costanza. Hold up a second. There we go. It's not up here. Oh, wait a second. T faves. This is not it. Yeah, well, I thought it was NF engaged 35 in my no, this is the Kizzy one. Yeah, see, this is how much I'm still trying to figure out this system.
Yeah, the way I use it, I just use it in sessions. How are you using it?
I use it in sessions, but I just put these images in here today, and I only meant to put 3 images, and it put the whole thing on accident. And I was like, yeah, I didn't want it to do all of them. I just only wanted to do like 3 images, and it like uploaded the whole session up there. So I was like, well, crap.
Oh. When you import it, yeah, you have to import the selected ones. Sometimes I do that too. I hit import and all the shit is imported, and I didn't want that either.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, no, I didn't mean for it to do all of these. How many? No, that was Logan in the studio. I think it's this one. Edit selects.
Oh, that's another thing I like about Capture One. Now that you mention it, the sessions, saving my images as in sessions. Like if I decide to stop using Capture One and go to some other program, for me, and this is just a personal thing. This is, everyone is different. But for me personally, I like the fact that it's all in folders. Like I could go to a specific folder. With Lightroom, it's kind of like catalogs, and it's all in this one big catalog. But with sessions, it's all in these different folders outside of Capture One. And for me, that's a little bit more organized, and I like that. And that's why I like. That's another thing I like about Capture One.
Oh yeah, the whole. I'm just using it for like editing and making adjustments, but I'm trying to learn it, and it's all Lonnie's fault. Because, well, honestly, like how I even started using it is because I shot with the Sony, and Lightroom just was not doing the job for the Sony files. And so I was like, well, let me switch to Capture One to see if it'll handle these Sony files better. And it sure did. I was like, yeah, I think Capture One is the move. So after I got over that, using the Capture One to try to get the better skin tones from the Sony, I started seeing like how good it was. And I was like, yo, this system ain't too bad. So I like, but I was okay with the Nikon file output on Lightroom. Like Lightroom treats my Nikon files just fine. I just had issue with the Sony file. So I was like, well, let me see what Capture One does for my Nikon files, and it was cool. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't that much better than Lightroom as far as like color profiles, but everything else surrounding it, I was just like, I kind of like using these other features. And so for example, I don't know if I have
okay,
this see, this was shot with my D800, but I'm using a D850 profile. And so then you have like the I don't know if you guys can see. You see how like the color tone changes to more muted tones right here for like the D&G profile. This is what the D800 profile looks like. So I settled on a D850 because I just kind of like how it looked with the undertones. And so, but there was just that whole thing right there was just like, wow, I can use all these different color presets to get a base to start from. Okay, great. Now I understand. Color science really doesn't matter when you got this, and you shooting raw.
You could do that in Lightroom too. I think you could change the color, the camera profile in Lightroom.
You can, but it doesn't have all of the camera. Like the Nikon one, it gives you like camera standard. So whatever is the standard ones in the camera that you brought, and then there's like Adobe Neutral, Adobe. So there's those ones, but like Capture One has like all of the ones from every camera ever, like Phase One, like it is these ones that you can kind of play and experiment with. So I just thought that was cool. Like, so if this was Lightroom, I would use Nikon camera standard because I like how that looks in Lightroom for most of my Lightroom files. But that itself, and then plus the other things were like really cool. You know, white balance. So yeah, this is my next video. I've already edited these. So now I got to take them in Photoshop and get rid of all this stuff and make them look pretty.
So I have a question about Photoshop because I suck at Photoshop. A lot of people do. But do you feel like your best work is something that you've taken into Photoshop and adjusted and done all the things? Or do you feel like there's something left to be said about something that's right out of the camera or just some basic edits?
So when it comes to like client work, like wedding stuff, that's all Lightroom. Like I just Lightroom that stuff. If it's like a model or anything like that, or like a portrait session where I want to do like retouching, Photoshop for me is more about retouching and fancy color grading. Outside of the fancy color grading and retouching, I don't really need Photoshop. Most of the stuff that I would want to do to a picture can be done in Lightroom and or Capture One. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's just kind of what
Lightroom it does. To me. Yeah, it's for me. It's more of a preference.
Sorry, that's what Photoshop is for me.
Like how much is too much? Because I've seen stuff where people look like plastic, and I don't like that. That's just a personal preference for me. It just like it goes too far, and it takes a lot of time.
That's because people, have taken the image and that they retouched it in Photoshop to a point where like they've done too much, and that's not necessarily a Photoshop issue. That's just an issue with the person using the tool. That's kind of like that's on the user end as opposed to the platform or the program being making you do that. That's not the result of the platform. So I get what you're saying there, but like if I'm going to take like a set of 10 images and edit them, I'll do most of the stuff that I need to do. I'll do 80% of the work in Lightroom or Capture One and do like the last 20% in Photoshop. And so like for these images, what would I do in Photoshop on these? Let me actually look at, like, so for example, she had like this band-aid here. This is something I would take in Photoshop and get rid of, and try to like get rid of that, and then do some skin retouching, try to even everything out. Same thing with here. Like I would just kind of like even out the skin up here and like clean all that up and then make it like uniform. Like this is as far as I can go, and get rid of this band-aid because she had this band-aid on here. So this is as far as I can go in Capture One. The rest of that I want to do, I'd have to do in Photoshop, and then I'd take it in VSCO and just use the VSCO preset to finish it out. Like this is kind of like a quick, I think this is a quick edit in Photoshop with a VSCO preset. I don't know, did I edit this? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think I retouched this one. So yeah, man, Capture One, I'm leaning more and more towards it. And so I'll probably, once I figure it out in like 6 months, I'll probably make a video middle of the year. Hey, switch to Capture One. Here's why, type of thing. One of those videos. Guess what I'm using now? I've been using it for the last 6 months. Here's my top 10 reasons for, that old shit. I'm like, I can't say it yet because I don't know why. But when I figure it out, I'm going to tell y'all why. My mouse keeps losing connection. Damn, graphic designers call themselves. Exactly. It's a graphic designers calling themselves photographers. For real. And that's one thing that Sam Hurd said. He made a comment. He was like, the more and more you Photoshop an image, the less it's photography. And it becomes like digital, digital cartoon or whatever it is. And I agree with that. Like, there's a fine line between being a photographer and just being like a graphic designer, for lack of a better term, or digital artist. And you see a lot of that. Like a lot of people, most of their work is done in Photoshop. Like the picture is just the starting point. They're going to end up somewhere completely different. Oh, dang, I lost my speaker. All my stuff dying on me. My mouse is dying. My headset then died. Oh, well, my battery's about dead on my mouse. Let me actually get some other batteries here. I'm going to have to close up shop.
I like those shots that you took out on the beach with the film camera.
Oh yeah, I'm shooting film again too. I'm gonna shoot some film some more. I want to borrow a RB67 from a friend, because I saw some pictures taken with the RB67 and I was like, man, this is beautiful. I was like, I need me a bigger format.
I got
bigger
two.
than my Mia.
I've got 2 of them.
Oh, you got an RB? 2 RBs?
Yeah, they're back there.
Yeah, man, them things are huge, but the output
super heavy. But for travel, this is probably my favorite. The Yashica D.
Oh, is that the Rolly?
No, it's a Yashica. I ain't got Rolly.
Oh, Yashica, okay.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons I don't like shooting digital so much. I think maybe for 2020, I'll try to shoot more film than I do digital. But I know it's going to cost me an arm, a leg, and a sexual favor to get it all developed.
Yo, why is these batteries? I swear to God, these rechargeables. Oh yeah. I ain't got no mouse. Let me find some other batteries.
Use
my XT trigger. Actually, I could use. Nope, can't use that one. 2. Antelope. That's what I got in here. It's a call. These ones are the ones that died. These antelopes just died on me, and I just put these fresh ones in here. But it's not like, for some, I guess maybe the voltage is just too high. It's not working with this magic mouse. So I gotta go get my other ones. I'll be right back.
Stream takeover.
I put these fresh rechargeables in my daughter's little play phone that she got for Christmas. I'm taking these back.
Do you find that you have issues with your trigger when you use rechargeables in it? I've heard a couple things about that. No, I can't hear me.
Yep, that's what did it. These ones work just fine, but the black ones, the pro level ones, don't seem to want to like work in this Magic Mouse. Anyways, well, let me go ahead and get rid of the sign out here and close up shop. You got to get the black ones. Yeah, that's what I was using. ISA.
Well, they're reading.
So,
wow,
you guys got anything else planned for the weekend?
Hopefully go out and shoot. I have tomorrow off. Saturday, Sunday, so I'm gonna do something.
We we have like headshots and like a few family sessions this weekend. Then I have like a shoot for a person's website on Sunday. Like she wants like headshots for like her hair company or hair something. So it's going to be like that, and some video clips. That's Sunday. Saturday is headshots. Tomorrow's like a few headshots, and then that's it. And then like the rest of the week, I think next week I don't have anything planned. So I'm going to try to. Me and Gabby want to get back together. The one you talked about at the beach. We want to get back together and do some and do like another shoot like in the studio. And then there's a few people that I need to like try to work with as soon as possible. So, but I'm gonna try to finish this video up. But other than that, that's it. I ain't got too much going on. It's slow season. We're gonna promote some posts on Instagram to get my following up. Magic Mouse 2. Oh yeah, I got the old Magic Mouse. But yeah, anyway, this is fun talking to people. I want to talk to me. I don't want to like talk by myself no more. I'm like, yeah, who can get on live and talk with me? So next time I go live, I'm gonna need people to tap in.
Gotta maximize that $25.
Right? Yeah. I think next time I go live, it'll be I'm gonna see if I can get Irene on here. Irene to like, because outside of me shooting, like just me sitting here and just talking, it's rare. I'm more like liable to go live on one of my shoots, which I may do this weekend. But outside of that, like just me talking about stuff is rare. It's not as often as me actually talking with you guys while I'm shooting. Whatever. So Amy, hey, who's that?
Alrighty, I'm gonna sign off because it's almost 1 o'clock my time.
Yeah, I'm heading out too. Nice talking with you, E, as well as you, Mike.
Yep, take it easy.
Thanks everybody joining the live stream. Some of my little clickbait in this broadcast.
All right.